Welcome back to the Marching Arts Podcast. I'm the Stress Master.
And I am Kanan, the guy who brings the occasional bit of fruity language to the podcast. That's my public service announcement.
Yeah.
I'm Jen. I'm so glad to be back after missing last week.
And we have had a few days of shows, first shows of the season, so we're really excited about that. We're going to kind of temper our excitement until we get through some other stuff first. But I wanted to remind everybody that now is the time. There's an exclusive deal right now just for you. It's free to subscribe. All you have to do is click that subscribe button. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. And then you get notified when we have cool videos on our channel like the one you're watching right now. So don't miss it. Don't miss it. Also, make sure you visit our YouTube page. We are going to be adding all of our videos, of course, to different playlists. You can view all those videos there. You can also become a part of the community by joining the channel as a member, and you get special member perks. So please make sure you do that. And then also visit our store where you can find cool Marching Arts Network merch. My merch is actually on its way here. I just ordered some more stuff. It'll be here anytime between now and like the end of this week. So real excited for it. And I will be sure to show it on the next podcast, which is going to be next week. So every week we're going to be doing a podcast and some content in between. So please make sure that you are getting notified. And the only way to do that really is subscribe, unless the algorithm does its job and tells you we have videos. So
buy a t-shirt so we can pay for StreamYard, please.
Yes, please. We're tired of Zoom. First article. Big, Loud, and Live is coming back. So I actually somebody asked me about this on one of our comments to the videos. I said, nah, they're done with that. They're not going to do that anymore. And then this announcement just came out. I'm actually considering going to this on August 7th because I've never been in like the 20 years that they've had it, or 15 years they've had it. I've never gone. And it's supposed to be pretty cool because especially here in Sacramento, there's such a large, community of drum corps people. It gets packed and it's usually pretty fun. So
yeah, I hope this year, it's kind of interesting because at least in St. Louis, it used to only be at like 2 theaters. And so you had everybody condensing into 2 theaters. And then towards the end, they had it at like 6 theaters. And so everybody kind of spread out and it wasn't as fun because it was half empty. So I'm hoping they do the same thing as they used to do, which is like, we're only going to put these in a couple of theaters and people will just flock to those theaters and pack them up. So I'm hoping.
And for those who can't make Big, Loud, and Live, what we'll do is, whether Justin goes or not, I will host a marathon live stream on the day like we did last year.
Semifinals?
A lot of fun. Yeah.
And also my friend Darian Sanders, he works with Regiment. He is one of the MCs for that night. He's going to be doing, field interviews and whatnot. He's been doing it for a while. So I'm kind of excited that he's going to be back on the big screen. So if you don't know who Darian is, he was a conductor at Regiment. He was also for, I think, 5 years, adult Simba, in the American touring production of Lion King. So he's amazing. Love him.
Very cool.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we move on to the next?
Yes.
Our next thing is gold. So this kind of brought up a point in my head as I saw this. And also, Bluecoats revealed their show literally 15 minutes before they went on. And Crossman did the same thing. Like they're literally waiting until right before the show starts before they actually reveal their show, which to me doesn't make sense. And we talked about this on the podcast, Kanan, you and I. It really is kind of anticlimactic because the whole point of doing your show reveal and giving us little hints and things about your show is to get us to go to the show. Right? Isn't that the whole point? Get us to watch the show, get us to go to the show. But if you're not telling us anything until the show happens, how is that building anticipation? But
look, you go, Jen.
I didn't get to chime in on this last week because I wasn't on the podcast because I have big, heavy thoughts about this. We all three of us come from an era of drum corps that didn't have show announcements. You didn't know what the show was until you opened the program at the show, oh, hey, Sacramento's doing whatever, so it's like, it's kind of like, maybe we knew we were doing Dvorak or something. I don't know, but it's like, it didn't stop me from going to the shows. I'm excited about seeing Phantom Regiment. I'm excited about seeing the Blue Devils. I'm excited about seeing whoever. I don't care what they're playing because I know they're going to smash the production. I don't care what Boston's doing because I know they're going to do insane things and I'm going to love it. So all of this, there's been a lot of negativity. It's been a really weird year of show releases. I mean, we've already had stuff on Flow Marching and people are still releasing their show announcements. It's so stupid at this point in time. Everybody's trying to outdo each other with these big, huge video productions. And, no offense, I'm not pointing at Vanguard because of the name of their show. These big avant-garde, like noir, like video motifs. And it's like, geez almighty, just get on with it. Tell us what the repertoire is and let us go, because I don't need these 3-minute modern dance clips. I just don't.
Interpretive dance.
I mean, my thought on it is that, yeah, I appreciate what you're saying, Jen, but I said the argument would be as well. We live in a different time. We live in a world of social media.
It's not. We live in a yeah.
we live in a world though where and what I think the other thing as well is that these show announcements aren't necessarily for us. They're actually
that's not for me.
They're designed to create excitement around an organization.
Yeah.
For those that are thinking of marching next year, okay? Mm-hmm. And I think that, when it comes to the likes of, you mentioned Bluecoats, you mentioned Boston, you mentioned Vanguard, you mentioned Phantom Regiment, they could probably get away with pulling it out so they do the show reveal on the day or whatever, because people have a certain level of expectation as to what those groups are going to do and what they're going to bring to the field. If you're no disrespect, but if you're a Gold, you're a Spirit of Atlanta, you're a Music City or whatever, I think that it's kind of daft to release your show so late in the game. Get people excited about you.
Yeah.
If we live at a time where we do these big announcements, we have videos, we have all this hype. We have these hype videos. I think they call it in college sports. If you're something like Gold, I think it kind of backfires on you to wait so late in the game. So
and this is an interesting one. It's just kind of like why has the pendulum swung so hard this year that we're literally almost in July before we're announcing, that they're doing Sweeney Todd. It's like, I'm excited that they're doing Sweeney Todd because I freaking love Sweeney Todd.
I think, and you know what? I think Gold had a lovely show last year. I think they're a really up and coming drum corps. It really did.
I'm excited about this.
Spark all that other stuff. This is a pretty cool repertoire here.
Yeah.
And Gold seems to be pretty good at bringing the dark stuff to the field as well, which makes me quite happy. So
I feel so bad because here's their show announcement. We're just dogging on show announcements, but no disrespect to Gold. I really
it's advice.
I'm looking forward to this.
It's just a weird environment this year. It's weird.
For me, it's advice to all these corps. It's if you know what your show is, that's fine, and you want to hold a little bit off. Give us little pieces. I think a couple corps actually did that. They kind of just did, okay,
Cavaliers knocked it out of the park this year.
Oh, yes, they did. They did three separate videos, right?
So good. Yeah.
They did three separate videos. And to me, that's fine, because then you're going to go like, here's what our uniforms look like. And then here's a little bit more. And then here's the full show reveal, and then that's kind of building interest, right? So to me, you're right. They did it correctly, because I was like, oh, because the next video dropped, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Instead of just like interpretive dance and colors and smoke and lighting and.
But on the same token, and another example of a show announcement that to me just hit it right out of the park was Boston. Soon as I saw that show announced for Boom, I was like, "Yep, I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm down."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I forgot to write a couple
Gold.
notes.
I'm looking forward to seeing this. I'm a huge Sweeney Todd fan. I can't wait to see the theatrics on this. So good luck.
Absolutely.
I'll be watching.
And in the broader picture as well, I think people forget that there is a lot of really good, entertaining drum corps that sits outside of the top 12. I think back to the marathon live stream that we did last year. Some of my favorite shows were in that the 21st to about 13th place.
Yeah,
one of my favorite shows last year was Music City. What's next?
What is next is I wanted to bring up the show schedule just so we can show everybody here. If you go, you can go to Flow Marching. You don't have to actually be a member to see the news and stuff like that. And actually, they do a really good job of giving you the schedules and rankings and stuff like that. So I highly recommend going to Flow Marching. Yeah. Yes, it is a plug, so they won't keep taking away my videos as I try to upload them. So if anybody from Flow Marching is watching, let us have videos up there, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll be subscribing next week.
I'm a little sad that I didn't tune in on the Barnum Festival because I would have liked to have seen Reading Buccaneers. I'm intrigued by their show announcement. I know we don't have it up here. It's more like a uniform reveal.
Yeah, I don't think they were on Flow Marching though. There was not a Flow Marching.
No, that's just a flow schedule.
Yeah, but no, it's a schedule of all shows. It's not of their
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And what was I going to say? Yeah, so what I wanted to point out is last night we had Drums Along the Rockies. We had the DCI tour premiere. Oh my God, that was really cool.
So much to talk about.
We're going to talk about that. Upcoming.
Is that the only Drums Along the Rockies this year?
Yes, that is the Drums Along the Rockies.
Didn't they have two in the past?
No.
I thought they had two.
I remember. Maybe I'm aging myself here, but man, there used to be two. But I remember that used to be one of the biggest shows of the summer.
Because it used to be us going out there, remember?
Yeah. It used to be in July, and it was one of the first major head-to-heads after the regional tours ended. So Drums Along the Rockies was kind of the same as like DCM and DeKalb, or what was the one that was up in Ypsilanti? Tour of Champions?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Drums Along the Rockies was a huge kind of ending to the Drum Corps West and kind of like our gateway to the rest of the country.
Yeah, because it was Ogden for us was always the warm up for Boulder.
That was the warm up for drums. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And since we don't have
Well, I think it's also because now like Santa Clara and Blue Devils go out there now to Wyoming and Idaho. Is that where Santa Clara was? I can't remember. But they go
Idaho and Wyoming.
They go out there, so they actually start there and move their way back to here and then go back out, which was another conversation we were having, which just seems odd, but this is what they do.
I think part of this has to also do with the fact that Boston was coming out.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So I think this might be a one-off. We'll see what happens next year with this show.
Yeah, so the whole reason I brought this up, everybody, is just so I can show you where you can see all the differences. You can also go on DCI.com or .org and watch it and look at it as well. But I think that this does kind of a good way of doing it so that you can just see kind of like a quick highlight. You can click on it and stuff like that. But and then it takes you to the show on DCI's website.
Okay.
So, but anyway, okay.
And look, can I say on that note, real quick? Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, okay, we'll go back.
Click one of the links. I don't care any one of them.
All right.
Scroll down. Gives you the option to buy tickets. Look, if you're in a position to buy tickets, buy tickets. Spend a little bit of money. That's what keeps this activity afloat, folks. It's not just something that we talked about online. You know, Go to a show. Donate to your favorite corps. We don't donate to any particular corps here. Find the corps that vibes with you the most, and donate to them. Buy a T-shirt. Spend a little bit of money. Buy it. Sponsor a meal. Whatever the case may be.
I'm going to throw some poor guy under the bus who was like, these show announcements came to some guy on Reddit. These show announcements came too late. So therefore, I'm not going to any shows because I couldn't plan my vacation around them. You know what? Go to the show anyways. Yeah. I bought tickets to multiple shows before a single show announcement came out. Go to the shows.
I mean, it's not. And my whole point of the comment. My whole point of the comment about the show reveals isn't about like, we don't know what. Why am I?
Oh, I'm just throwing that guy under the bus.
Yeah, I know. but my whole point is that it's not about the fact that I don't know. I'm not going to be excited for the shows. It's like, if you're going to give me a teaser, give me a teaser. If you're going to give me the full thing, give me the full thing. Don't just give me in betweens. I don't want in betweens.
Don't give it to me 10 minutes before your show reveal. Your show is being premiered.
That doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway. Okay.
Anyway, let's talk about everybody wearing blue.
Oh gosh. Okay. So.
Also, Blue Knights should be in this picture.
Yeah, Blue Knights too. Yeah. So let's do a quick quiz. Which one of these is Blue Devils? Which one is Mandarins? Which one's Phantom? Because these are all three different corps, and then Blue Knights is also in the mix too, I think, right?
Yes, because they're wearing their water. Yeah.
Yeah. and that was kind of the thing.
And here's the best bit, though, is you could almost understand it if they were all made by the same uniform manufacturer, but they're not. Blue Devils is an FJM. Yeah, Blue Devils is FJM.
No, we're FJM. We're FJM.
Are you guys FJM
but it's about who designed the uniforms.
Yeah,
true.
And Mandarins is. I know Mandarins isn't. They're
Demolan.
C something. No, C something.
Anyway, custom something.
Yes, yeah. Point being, though, is were they all designed by the same person? I mean,
we didn't.
Or is this just an absolute fluke? And it's just a weird fluke. It's not even so much that they're blue; they're all in the same bloody shade of blue as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even look here. Look, that is the same as this. It's the same colors. Yeah. Anyway, we just thought that was
interesting. Supposed to be out on the road. Just say, can I borrow a couple of your guard members, please?
I made the comment, and I don't know if we can put pictures of whatever that. And I don't want to throw Michael under the bus because Michael Cesario, he designed the uniforms for Cavaliers in '94 and for Phantom in '94, and it was both of our uniforms were nude black, one sleeve. It was like, oh, Michael. We all came out. We're like twinsies. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we just thought I just thought it was kind of like interesting because it's like everybody goes inside every year. All the corps, not all the corps, the majority of the corps all do kind of similar stuff, and it's sometimes
there's a lot of white this year.
Yeah, show or colors.
Take Blue Devils out of the. Take Blue Devils out of the equation, the entire top six and take Blue Devils and Crown out of the occasion, and pretty much everybody in the top 6 and 7 is wearing white.
It's a lot of white this year. I mean,
I
love. I just want to say, somebody when we premiered our uniforms at Regiment, somebody was like, "Oh, I see we're borrowing from Boston 22." I was like, "Seriously, 87." Get on with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've been wearing all white since '87.
That being said,
we were the originators of all white.
Yeah. So listen. That being said, though, I mean, I don't see that we have I don't see it queued up in the top there. But special shout out to Boston's uniforms. I think those are fire. Boston's uniforms are absolute fire.
So good.
And Justin, in fact, let's maybe do a bit of a jump cut here. Pull up Blue Coats uniforms as well. Let's talk about them.
Blue Coats.
And let's talk about Blue Coats. Now, listen, when I first saw the pictures of this uniform, my first comment was, and Justin can verify that I said this, they look like a Temu or Wish.com version of the Bridgeman. Until I took a second look. and I've realized, oh my God, these uniforms are actually pretty good. So if you look, they've got a bit of an iridescence, which you can see under the lights, and the way that they interact with those panels on the props is amazing. It's just unbelievably cool. That uniform instantly goes from white to yellow to pink to blue. I think it's just wicked cool.
All right, let me see if I can change it.
I have to give another read while he's doing that. I have to give another read to their show because I tend to, in the very beginning, watch everything high cam just so I can see what the visual package is. So I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see what they were doing with their props. I couldn't see anything because it was all high cam, mid cam, golden hour. Everything was refracting. So I did not have a good read of their show. So I definitely have to rewatch it and get kind of a feel of what those uniforms are doing.
Oh, I was a fan from the first note, genuinely from the first note.
So,
I'm going to be a little controversial.
Yeah, we might as well just talk about their show. We're here. So
I do not.
We're doing this.
I do not think that the Guard uniform is effective in terms of contrast because the colors are so muted on this uniform. It looks like they just wash out when they're far away, and all you see is white against white.
I agree. Hey, what did I say last year?
I got a bad read, so I can't even comment on that.
Now, Justin, think back a year to when we did our uniform reveal show last year. And what did I say about the Mandarins? And it's just sort of this
too much monochrome?
Trend that. No, it's not that it's too much monochrome. It's that it seems like designers are trying to be too smart for their own good and throwing tons of little details. Like, for instance, in this, you've got a very subtle color shift, right? Or when you look at, for instance, Pacific Crest's uniform, maybe you can throw a little image across the top here where there's all these details in there that the second you get more than 5 yards away, you lose it. So you think back to Mandarin's uniforms last year. Up close, they looked really cool. The second you got more than 5 yards away, it was just a sea of this sort of
which is every drum corps show.
Yeah. You know, whereas these, I think up close look horrendous. I look at last year's blue coats. I thought up close they looked horrible. But man, you get back 5 or 10 yards and suddenly you see actually what's going on here. You know, so this gives the general shape while in motion of the classic blue coats uniform with the coat, the pockets, the stripe down the front, you know.
So here's an interesting thought then. Are we designing for the sneak peek photographs? Are we designing for multicam at Lucas Oil?
I think we are, and this isn't me blowing sunshine at you, Jen. But I think that one of the corps that absolutely hit it out of the park this year for uniform design was Phantom, because it's not an overly complicated uniform, and it doesn't lose anything whether you're right up close to it or you're sitting at the back row at Lucas Oil. It looks like Phantom Regiment, regardless of where you are. Yeah. There's no questioning who you're looking at. So, but yeah, this here, I think blue coats. On a second viewing, I think they absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this in a better setting, like at night.
And I love the show. I absolutely love the show.
You know, the show is intriguing. I'm only going to talk about the music, just because that's the only thing I got a decent read on. I really think, you know, at first I was like, this feels very throwbacky, a greatest hits, and things like that. You know, they are touching things that they attempted to do, like with the kinetic noise and everything like that.
Yep.
And now they're doing it really well. So it's like, it's not that they're throwing back to 2015. It's that they're
almost like they've been building up over
that.
Yeah, they've been building
up, and this is like the culmination. And, you know, I don't know anything about Sunlux. I don't know anything about this person. So all of this, there's bits of Sunlux dropped in here and all this stuff, and I can feel his collaboration, you know, but I really enjoyed the interview they did with him, where he talked about, like, I hope that my kid gets to have this kind of community in some way, this kind of work ethic in some way. You know, that's something all of us have done with Drum Corps, is that this is our community, this is our family. And he got to sit in that atmosphere in that community for however long he was there. And and experience what it is that makes this family what it is, what this activity is. And so it was great to see someone kind of get indoctrinated in that.
Yeah.
Oh, I always think it's really cool when you see people from outside of our activity that understand it.
Mhm.
One of the other cool videos I saw was Art Cruz, the drummer for Lamb of God, who hung out with the Blue Devils last year at their family day, or no, at their Wyoming show.
Yeah.
And I think Art played tenors in his high school band, but got to experience what the Blue Devils were all about, and drum corps at a very high level, and was absolutely blown away.
Yeah.
And when people say, "Oh, it's just band," it's not just band.
No.
Anybody that says it's just band, you know what? It's not. What people don't get unless they've experienced this activity from the inside is that here we are, the three of us, 30 plus years later, still chatting crap to each other.
Still talking about it. Yep.
Still talking about it, and still just excited today as we were when we were marching. And that's what this activity is. So,
well, I'm more excited because I don't have to do any of this because I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
They were like running and dancing, and I mean, I guess if that was the thing at the time, we would have learned how to do it, but it wasn't our thing.
Yeah,
there's a lot of marching this year.
I only hung up my marching shoes in after 2019, and I remember thinking to myself, God, I'm a 40-odd-year-old, slightly overweight bloke trying to prance around on the field like a 19-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
It was difficult. Speaking of prancing around as well, I've got to say a special shout out to it was Bluecoats. I'm sure it was Bluecoats. During their tuba feature, they've got a tuba player. No, it was Boston. Sorry, no, it was Boston. It was Boston. They've got Boston's got a tuba player that at the end of their feature, he's playing like a high G or whatever while doing the splits, and then lays down on his back, sets his horn down, pops up, and catches a rifle toss. Oh,
I didn't see the rifle toss.
God.
Oh my gosh!
Oh God, it's unbelievable. I about fell out of.
Gosh!
Honest to God, I about fell out of it. Go back and watch it. He pops up from those splits and catches a 5.
All right, we're going to talk about Boston more.
All right, let's progress on.
All right, I know we're all over the place. I've bought Bluecoats. I'm really excited to see how this grows. It's very experimental. I'm a little bit. The only criticism I have, and this will probably go out in the wash as the season progresses. The only kind of head scratcher I have right now is the swing between experimental music over and a bunch of double tonguing and a bunch of just technical blah, to big jazz, to Latin jazz, to so there's a little disconnect that will probably grow on me with multiple viewings, but I kind of it made me kind of go what but we'll see. That's just my own personal opinion. This is a great show. It's not my favorite Bluecoat show. I am unabashedly a Bluecoats honk. I love everything they do, including Garden of Love. I love that show. This one is not right out of the gate for me, but I am positive by the end of the year I'll be like, that's right.
Well, I mean, probably even like all the other shows, they have to develop, because they can see what works, what doesn't work. Yeah. Transitions, they can fix transitions. And one thing I did want to point out, everybody's wearing glasses.
Oh,
if you guys notice that the entire corps wears glasses except for the guard, but they all wear glasses because they're observers.
Okay.
I hadn't even noticed that.
Are those hey?
Hello. Right. So we've had a bit of a boo-boo. And we've lost pretty much all of the raw video of the second half of this week's episode. Apologies for that, is what it is. It was some sort of a weird setting with OBS, which is the software that we use to record these videos. Unfortunately, it's all gone. It's gone, never to see the light of day again, which is probably not a bad thing because there were some things that I possibly would be glad not to have seen the light of day, but is what it is. Right. So what we're going to do to try to save this is we're going to have a little snippet on everybody that we've seen thus far, and one of us will give you a very quick their take, if you will, on what they've seen. So not ideal. Unfortunately, you miss all the banter that we had between us, and there was some banter, but it is what it is. So we will start with Justin's take on the Blue Devils.
The Blue Devils. I think their show this year is kind of in line with shows they've done in the past. It kind of checks off some of the same boxes visually that they've done in the past, but it kind of fits with the show theme this year because it's called The Gathering, so they have a lot of scatter forms, a lot of body movement. They do it really, really well. They sound great. The thing for me, which is kind of weird, and maybe it's because of the lighting of this particular show, was the chairs were so bright. And I know it's just white, but the lights reflecting off them just kind of hit me weird. I'm sure it's going to look different in different stadium, but they use those props, those chair props, really, really well, in my opinion. And I like how they fold down to those ramps later on. I'm almost wondering if it might be good to add some bit of color to it so you can actually see the definition, but I understand why they're not, because they want the blue to contrast the white when they're standing up on them, because they do use them for several different points of staging for features and stuff like that. So I really like the Blue Devils show. I'm not sure if it's going to beat the Blue Coats or the Boston Crusaders. Vanguard may have a chance to pass them as well. I'm just not sure. That whole 1 through 6 thing is just kind of a jumble right now because we really haven't seen much. We haven't had anybody judge together, and there's many more weeks to go. But man, what a solid show. Sound great, drumline's great. They visually look great. I don't think the uniforms in the upper half really look like the Blue Devils, and that's kind of something that Katie and I were kind of, and Jen disagrees with me on, but the blue and the black at the top really doesn't sell Blue Devils for me. If I was to see that uniform and someone said, which corps is this, I really wouldn't be able to tell you. The only thing that is this traditional is the socks on the arms. Those look cool. I like the purple and the blue, and it's not like I don't like the uniform. I do like the uniform, but for me, the upper half doesn't look like Blue Devils, and I can't really tell right away that's Blue Devils, but they sound and look like Blue Devils.
Troopers. They are ending this quadrilogy thing they have with their show Into the Sunset. I'm not going to talk about the props because they're unfinished. They didn't have their mountain scrims on them, so no big deal. I will talk about the Apple Box props. They are small and visually not there. That brown is not popping on the field. It just looks like an afterthought. Trust me, 2019 Regiment had brown props on the field, and they were 8 feet high and still didn't work. So I'm not a big fan of the Apple Box crates. I just think they need something else. The guard is already starting at a much stronger point than they've been in the last few years. So thank you, troopers, for addressing, for beefing up your guard program. That's awesome. I really like their uniforms. They've been playing this very dark, angsty role for the last few years. So kind of seeing them in these light, ethereal, heavenly palettes, sunset palettes, it's great. I need to get a better read of their show. But I hope they pop a little bit more from the core once we get all the other props kind of in their place. Hornline is great. I'm iffy on the repertoire. I think there's a little bit of a real slow part in the middle. I know Kanan said that the back end of the show was slow to develop. This is just a different show than in years past. It's very esoteric. It's very interpretive versus, and I kind of look at it like, does, we all have very interpretive views of that sunset, that final sunset, and I think in years past, we've had very clear storylines, black hat, white hat, good versus evil, obsession with black gold, where we've had these very strong characters to root for and invest in. And now we don't have that. And I don't know if it's just not there yet, but not having a white hat go into that sunset and that final sunset is, kind of like, where is our character? We've always had a character in their show. So I'm feeling a certain kind of way on that one. We'll see how this show grows. We have known with Troopers that they start with bare bones and they just build and build and build and build and build to the end of the year. So, and it is kind of interesting. We've had these huge scaffolding props. We've had these huge hydraulic powered props for the last couple of years. So not having that is really a departure. So I'm not sure how this fits into the story. Like, is this an adequate epilogue to the entire story? I don't know. We'll see. I haven't cast a verdict yet. It's June.
Boston Crusaders. Boom. I'm going to keep this one really, really short and sweet. First off, my 2025 hero is that tuba player that plays like it's like a double G or something like that while doing the splits, who then lays down, puts his tuba down, jumps up, and catches a 5 rifle from the color guard. That is my hero. The next thing I'm going to say is I think you're looking at your DCI champions right there. As I said, short and sweet. Boom.
The Colts, I think, are very interesting this year. They're part of that interesting group with Santa Clara Vanguard. I love the uniforms for the brass and the drum line. I'm not sure about the color guard uniforms yet and how they tie together. To me, they're kind of like really clashing in terms of visual. For me, it would make more sense maybe to have the guard in like maybe a single color, maybe make it look more like a pajama kind of a feel, more like, and then have the logos on them, because it's just really conflicting colors. There's like pinks and purples against reds and yellows, and it just really doesn't work for me visually. But the core is great. They have some really unique props. They're kind of like dice, I guess, so to speak, and they rotate, but they're matched to the color of the AstroTurf so that it looks almost like you can't see them. And then when they turn them, then they have colors and they have different things happening. So that part I really like and enjoy. The brass sounds really great. Really good sound from them. I think they might be able to move up a little bit in placing maybe this year. We'll have to see how they do. But I think for the show, for me, the visual clash is just the uniforms. They're great for the brass and the drums, but the color guard really it's throwing me off a little bit. But I think they're going to be really, really good. But we have so many more weeks to go. Let's see how it pans out.
Okay. The reason I started with Troopers is because I want to talk about the drum corps that might be racing up into their rearview mirror, and that's Blue Knights. Holy smokes. I did not have Blue Knights on my bingo card to be a contender this year, but they are. That show, don't take offense to this, Blue Knights people. I've never connected with their shows. Maybe 2019 was a fantastic show. That one kept me in my seats. They've always been that proverbial kind of hot dog nacho corps for me. Not this year. I'm going to have to find another corps. I love this show. So kudos. The uniforms work. They got a little bit of, hatred online for the uniforms with the pipes, but from a distance, the color works, the props work, the blue against the rust, it all works. I am going to shout out to their ballad. It is gorgeous. I think their horn line is super strong this year. They're playing the crap out of a really accessible horn book. Like, it's toe tapping. It's like I'm in it, I'm like, it's melodic, it's swingy, it's everything. But that ballad, design, rep, arrangement, all of it is just hitting on all cylinders for me. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about Woodwind's Soloist, the rule change, and I said I'm intrigued by this. I'd love to see an oboist because an oboe is such a unique and sonically beautiful instrument. It's in a class of its own, I think. And Blue Knights gave it to me. They said, here's your oboe in the ballad. And it was everything I had hoped an oboe in DCI would be. Don't come at me if you don't like woodwinds in DCI. This is not that argument. As I'm talking about, like, it's not about whether an oboe belongs in DCI. It's here. So let's talk about what it gave. And that's what I'm talking about. It's not about whether you think it should be here or not. It's here. So how was it? And I thought it was absolutely beautiful. Super excited about it. Can't wait to see what you do. Good luck. I don't know who I would kick out of finals for you. So maybe we can have 13, right?
Right. So my thoughts on Cavaliers. First off, I said in the last podcast with the Hot Takes podcast, I think it was 2 episodes ago. I said in that my hot take was that the Cavaliers would miss finals this year. And I've got to follow my sword and say, after seeing what I've seen, I don't think that's going to happen. That being said, I'm not sure that this is a vehicle that's going to transport the core up into the next echelon, but I think that this is a program that will safely keep the Cavaliers in finals. I think all the captions are significantly improved, especially the brass. I think early season last year, now mind you, towards the back end of the season, Cavi's brass had really they were probably the most improved brass line on the field last year. But I think early season, Cavaliers brass was a real anchor for them, and that's not going to be the case this year. I think that the look of the core is really nice. I like the fact that the Cavaliers look like the Cavaliers, much like I said about the Blue Devils. It's a modern, up-to-date costume, but I can instantly look at it and I can instantly tell you who it is. And that makes me quite happy. So Cavaliers, I like the show. I wouldn't say it's the most memorable show, but I think that the goal this year is to solidify, stay in the top 12, and then start to build from there. Obviously, we've had a lot of change as far as design staff, as far as instructional staff, as far as management. So I think that the goal for the Cavaliers this year has to be simply maintain and then start to build from there. And if that goal this year is maintained, then I think that that's what they're going to do with this show. So that's my initial thoughts on Cavaliers.
All right. So the Avant-Garde, the Vanguard, a lot of people are comparing them to 93 Star of Indiana. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I think they're going to be amazing. They're going to be kind of that core that you just weren't expecting to see this year. They're doing some really out there edgy stuff, which I don't have a problem with at all. I think it's really cool. It's unique. It's different. And I think that's what's been lacking in the activity is just kind of the same old status quo. And I think Vanguard can be a force to be reckoned with. I don't know if they can win it. You just don't know what's going to happen until you get closer and closer to finals, like what's going to happen. But they're definitely going to be up there in that realm of top 5 somewhere. They are really, really good. Really, like I said, really different. I really like what they're doing, and I really can't wait to see what they evolve to, which is unusual because usually a lot of times I don't really like Vanguard shows as much as the other shows, but this year seems to be way different type of a show that I'm kind of down for. So I hope they keep it going because, man, they're going to be serious contenders, and we're going to see in the next few days like what they're going to be scoring in relation to everyone else.
Okay, Carolina Crown. Anybody who thought after last year that Carolina's brass was not a thing anymore, they're wrong. Carolina Crown's brass is perfectly fine and here in 2025. So they sound beautiful. However, I have a couple of staging design quirks with the show. Now, let me just preface this with, I love Carolina Crown. They're one of my favorite corps. They often have shows that maybe in June I'm like, but then by August I'm like, yes, 2019 is the one that comes to mind. That show, when I first saw it, I was like, okay. And then by August at finals, I was like, throwing babies. So, and it's still one of my favorite shows. I think this is that show where I'm in June, like, and now in August, I want to throw babies. So that's my challenge to Crown. I think there are some guard staging issues. The flag line is like forgotten behind the back hash for the first half of the show. And that is not fair to Carolina Crown's guard, because Carolina Crown's guard is amazing. They have a little bit different aesthetic this year. I've always talked about they have this ballet aesthetic where everything's very uplifted, and it's almost like they're a foot off the ground. Their extensions are beautiful. Their arms, lots of energy coming out the fingertips. Very open and airy, and I'm like moving around. And their character this year is more grounded and driven and in the earth and kind of, and while there's nothing wrong with that because they are delivering on character, it is just different than what I have loved about their choreography in the past. So I'm going to give this repeated viewings. I'm not saying they're not talented, because they're incredibly talented. And I'm going to give this repeated viewings and maintain my love for Carolina Crown's guard. It's just a departure from things that I've loved in the past. Going back to like 2019, 2018, they need to figure out the props. That's my biggest complaint. It is not enough to have a prop out there and then push it around every now and then and hang a girl off of it, make her wave her arms. I want to see more use of those props in a more dynamic way, because right now I think they're very two-dimensional. They look cool. Let's make cool use of them. So that's my only gripe with the show: guard staging and props. But they have a lot of time, and I think they know what they're doing. They're gonna really judge the show. And I think by August, this is gonna be a contender to potentially make a run at a medal. We'll see. We'll see what a couple of the corps have to say about that.
So my thoughts on Phantom Regiment. Elephant in the room. Let's talk about the props. I mean, it is the one thing that jumps out more than anything, and that is the props. That being said, I know that Phantom Regiment has a very, very strong organization, all the way from the board all the way down to the person who's in charge of opening tins on the food truck. So the point I'm trying to make is they've got the network and they've got the ability to sort this issue. I don't think that it's a huge issue, but obviously those props in the wind simply don't work. Now, obviously, you're not going to have that problem when you're in Lucas Oil or in the Alamo Dome or whatever the case may be. But right now, in Muncie, we do have that problem, and it's a problem that needs to be addressed. I think it's probably something pretty simple. It's either changing the way that the silks themselves are attached to the poles, or some weights or something like that. But I'm sure that they're going to get something sorted for that. Now, as far as the show itself is concerned, I absolutely love this show. I love this direction that Phantom Regiment has taken over the last few years, and I'm glad to see that they haven't gone away from that. Love the uniforms. I think they're one of the most effective uniforms on the field. Are they the fanciest? Absolutely not. And I think that's probably what makes them so effective. Again, simple. That philosophy that I've got is I should be able to look at a corps at first glance and tell you who they are, and I've no question in my mind that I'm looking at Phantom Regiment, even though the entire rest of the top 6 and 7 seems to be wearing white this year. But again, Phantom Regiment, I have no question who I'm looking at. I love the show. Some of my comments. So when I watch this show, what I tend to do is I tend to keep like kind of a crib sheet to just jot down my initial thoughts. So looking at that, some of the notes I've got are Mellows. Oh my God. I've got about 16 comments on here for mellophones. Love the richness of the brass line. I think the battery is significantly improved, and the guard has significantly improved as well. I do think they're being hamstrung by a little bit by visual design, more so in the staging, and I don't fully understand the the reason for those cylindrical cages that they don't really seem to do much with. I don't know that those are even necessary, or if we have plans to. I don't think there's many cores that add as much to their shows as Phantom Regiment throughout the season. So I'm interested to see what their plans are for those cylindrical props, because I can't imagine that what we're seeing right now is anything close to the finished product. Do I think Phantom Regiment is going to medal? That was one of my hot takes, is that Phantom Regiment could be a medal contender this year. Yes, I still stick to that. I still think that this is a potentially medaling show. That being said, I think 3rd through 6th is completely up for grabs. I think that Blue Devils were 3rd last year. I think they could just as easily finish 3rd this year as they could 6th. And I think that that's going to be an absolute dogfight between those 4 cores, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I don't know what Mandarins are bringing to the game yet. So is it 7? We don't know just yet. So, but that is my initial thoughts on Phantom Regiment. Solid show, great look. My other comment was J.D. Shaw should not be allowed to leave Rockford ever again and must be protected at all costs. So what he's done with that brass line over the last 3 seasons is just unbelievable. So that's my initial thoughts on Phantom Regiment.
Okay, well, that's our reactions to all the different shows. Thank you guys so very much for watching. We truly appreciate it. And sorry for this weird format. We don't normally have this issue, but we had no time to get back together to re-record everything that we lost, which was literally 2/3 of what we talked. It was a very, very long podcast, and this actually helped shorten it quite a bit. But we really want to thank you. And just a reminder, these are our opinions. These are initial thoughts and feelings about these shows. I'm sure those opinions will change throughout the season. I'm sure you have opinions, so please make sure that you comment, like, and subscribe, so that way you get notified when we have cool videos like the one you're watching right now, because we really, really, truly appreciate you being here, and we appreciate all the support on all of our videos, and we are going to be doing lots more throughout the season, so we can't wait to bring all that to you. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you on the next video. Until then, I'm not going to do the spiel, but you know what to do. You got to march on.